We're going to start with breaking news in our world lead. A desperate situation at the southern border growing even more dire today. Right now, thousands of Haitian migrants are left in limbo both in Texas and in Mexico as the Biden administration struggles to try to get a handle on this crisis. CNN on the scene this afternoon as migrants waded across the Rio Grande, their minimal belongings piled upon their heads, obviously hoping for a better life in the United States. At one point today, law enforcement in Mexico forming a human chain of sorts, trying to stop migrants from making the trip across the river. Not all of the migrants who make the trek will be allowed to remain in the U.S. More than 1,000 Haitians have been deported from the U.S.-Mexico border. 3,600 remain under the Del Rio International Bridge in Texas. We're covering this crisis from both sides of the Rio Grande. CNN's Rosa Flores is in Del Rio, Texas. But we're going to start with CNN's Matt Rivers, who's in Acuña, Mexico. And Matt, you just saw a great number of Haitians making their way to the U.S. Tell us more.
Yeah, basically, Jake, in the last 2 hours or so, things have really changed here on the Mexico side. When we spoke to you yesterday, you saw there were lots of people going back and forth between here on the Mexico side and the U.S. side. There was even a rope that was strung between both sides. People coming from the U.S., coming here to Mexico, actually because they wanted to get supplies, food, water, things like that, easier to get than on the U.S. side, apparently. And I can show you the scene now. If we just show you the other side of the river there, you can see some Haitian migrants that had just made it across, and there's some Border Patrol people. They're still allowing those people to cross. But there's a lot less Haitian migrants coming here right now. And the reason for that is because of a stepped-up Mexican enforcement, what we're seeing here. So if I turn around here, these trucks here were not here before. These soldiers here were not here before. If you turn here, you can see these guys. They just showed up here very recently. And what ended up happening, Jake, was at first there was about 6 or 7 people that showed up here, just immigration officials standing like this, clearly trying to prevent some Haitians from going across. Well, what happened is word spread very quickly through the camp that something was happening here that hadn't happened before. As a result, several dozen migrants made their way here very quickly. They kind of rushed those officers, and those officers really couldn't stop them, and there was just a mad dash across the border. People have been coming here to Mexico maybe to stay for a night, maybe to get a hot meal, to escape the madness, essentially, that's happening on the other side of the border. But when they found out that they were stuck here, essentially, in Mexico, or might be stuck, well, many tried to make sure they could get back across the U.S. because they want to go through the immigration process over there. As a result, it was a rush towards the border. Clearly, those immigration officials here in Mexico were overwhelmed at first. That initial wave went. Reinforcements have come. You can see here to my left, these guys much more heavily outfitted than the first people here that came. And as of now, Jake, I can safely say that at least in this section here, there are no more migrants that are going to be allowed to cross from Mexico to the U.S. and vice versa. If you are a Haitian migrant and you are in Mexico at this point, you're going to go through either the immigration process or the deportation process from this side of the border.
And Matt, you just saw some boat patrols arriving.
Yeah, and so what we have seen also is a stepped-up presence from the U.S. side as well. From the first time in the last couple of days, we saw U.S. Border Patrol actually patrolling on boats on that side of the river. As of this point, though, Jake, there's still every now and then a Haitian migrant manages to go through another part of this river, and they make their way across, and Border Patrol is allowing those people to go to that encampment under that international bridge in Del Rio. So they're still letting people on. They're not forcing them back here to Mexico, but there's stepped-up activity on that side of the border as well.
All right, Matt Rivers, thank you so much. Let's hop across the Rio Grande now. The Department of Homeland Security has temporarily stopped the use of horse patrols in the Del Rio, Texas sector. This comes after days of outrage from both Republicans and Democrats after these images spread of Border Patrol agents on horseback aggressively confronting Haitian migrants. As CNN's Rosa Flores reports for us now, the investigation into the incident is ongoing.
The Biden administration's strategy on the Del Rio migrant crisis drawing criticism, as what the administration says.
In order to ensure that migrants are swiftly taken into custody, processed and removed from the United States consistent with our laws and policies.
Doesn't tell the whole story on the ground. The Department of Homeland Security says about 1,400 Haitians have been sent back to Haiti since September 19. The move creating chaos on the tarmac in Port-au-Prince. The U.S.'s special envoy to Haiti submitted his resignation, citing the inhumane decision to deport thousands of Haitian refugees, calling U.S. policy deeply flawed.
This is why your country
This after Border Patrol agents on horseback used aggressive tactics against migrants. DHS now announcing the temporary suspension of horse patrol in Del Rio. 3,200 migrants were transported out of Del Rio and are in Customs and Border Protection custody, DHS says. And since Monday, more than 1,300 migrants have been released by Border Patrol in Del Rio alone, according to a local nonprofit. 6 days under the bridge. That's where we met Nerline Plaisance, a Haitian woman who says that migrants are given a number on a ticket under the bridge. She had a yellow ticket. Did they tell you why it was yellow?
No.
When her number was called, she says she was processed and allowed to stay in the United States.
Bueno, darle muchas gracias.
She's thankful that she's allowed to stay, she says, because in Haiti she wouldn't have a place to live. But CNN has learned up to 30,000 Haitians in Colombia could be heading to the U.S. southern border. CNN cameras capturing migrants flowing into Texas near the Del Rio International Bridge. From the air, the camp clearly shrinking. From the ground, you'll see behind me that the law enforcement presence is still very heavy. Take a close look under the bridge and you'll see that the number of migrants has dwindled. But if you look around, you'll see that the number of resources has increased. CNN getting an exclusive look inside a field hospital that just went up. This is the emergency care center. The chief medical officer says 70 patients were treated in the first 24 hours.
Some environmental injuries, some heat injuries, some occasional nausea, diarrhea, some respiratory illness from the dust and the environment.
Months before this camp went up, the local Border Patrol union says agents asked the federal government for additional resources because of an increase in border crossings. But the resources didn't arrive until recent days. Now to a dramatic change here in Del Rio. I want to go straight to live drone images because the camp that was right next to the bridge, you can take a look at it yourself. It is getting bulldozed. Now this is in line with what we've heard from officials here, that the numbers are dwindling. At last check, about 3,600. Now this, as the UN refugee chief says, that the conditions under this bridge are deplorable. And Jake, that mass expulsions of people to Haiti, if they are not properly processed, is just not consistent with international norms. Jake?
All right, Rosa Flores in Del Rio, Texas. So we've gone to Texas and we've gone to Mexico. Coming up, we'll take you to Haiti. But in the meantime, let's discuss all this with Democratic Congresswoman Frederica Wilson of Florida, who represents Miami's Little Haiti neighborhood. Congresswoman, thanks so much for joining us. So today, the U.S. Special Envoy to Haiti quit over the Biden administration's handling of this influx of Haitian migrants. He called the Biden approach, quote, inhumane, counterproductive, and deeply flawed, unquote. Do you agree?
That he was such a great envoy, and I am so disappointed that he left. We begged him not to leave, to try to work through all of the difficulties, but we could not convince him. There are some issues, and there are so many things that I feel so disappointed in the administration about. In fact, I'm pissed. That's the word I have been using, because it's a humanitarian crisis, and we have to deal with it.